It was a year that began with a tortured phone call, its transcript famously leaked months later, between Australia's Prime Minister, Malcolm Turnbull, and the newly inaugurated President of the US, Donald Trump. Trump, furious at being asked to honor a deal brokered with the Obama administration for the US to take around 1,250 refugees from Manus Island and Nauru, complained that this shows me to be a dope. Whether it did or not, Trump spent the year revealing the most grotesque behavior, spouting tweets and public statements that promised everything from fire and fury on North Korea to the declaration that there were some very good people among American neo-Nazis and white supremacists. Back in Australia, Turnbull, who had replaced Tony Abbott on the basis that Abbott had suffered 30 negative polls in a row, finished his own rough year with 25 successive news polls showing his coalition in a losing position to Bill Shorten's Labor. Abbott, occupying a backbench seat, spent much of the year ensuring he remained above beneath Turnbull's blanket, reminding anyone who would listen that the party under Turnbull was straying far from its conservative roots. Abbott looked overpleased when a Tasmanian anarchist allegedly had butted him in a Hobart street. Amid it all, in what was possibly the oddest moment in Australian parliamentary history, Pauline Hanson breezed into a sitting of the Senate wearing a full burqa. The then Attorney General, George Brandis, ripped into Senator Hanson for undermining relations with the Muslim community. To ridicule that community, to drive it into a corner, to mock its religious garments is an appalling thing to do, he said. Brandis would end the year out of cabinet and preparing to take a new job as Australia's High Commissioner in London. Identity and foreign shores proved the memes of the parliamentary year. Foreign Minister Julie Bishop warned that she'd have trouble trusting a New Zealand Labour government and within months, found that New Zealand had produced just such an administration. Australian politicians from all sides also discovered they were dual citizens, and the High Court ruled that in most cases, they were ineligible to serve as parliamentarians. The Deputy Prime Minister, Barnaby Joyce, having inherited New Zealand citizenship, was the most high-profile of those to fall, despite Turnbull predicting the High Court would exonerate him. When his electorate of New England sent him triumphantly back to Parliament after a by-election, Joyce celebrated by dumping Turnbull's end-of-year ministerial reshuffle into a trough of bad odour by insisting on sacking one of the Nationals' best performers, Darren Chester, from cabinet. As 2017 ground towards a close, Shorten, who had spent much of the year skating free of most serious political problems, largely because the coalition insisted on consuming itself, found himself suddenly exposed to big trouble in Little China by his New South Wales ally, Sam Dastyari. Dastyari, having persuaded a Chinese donor to pay some of his personal bills, was found to have warned the donor that Australian security was listening to his phone. Finally, Dastyari was exposed for misleading his party and the public about a speech he made to the Chinese community in which HED supported China's military expansion.